Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a stock market journey where I document my journey to becoming a consistent day trader. Today we're doing a little trade recap from the past week. I recorded all of my trades, so let's go through them. Right off the bat, my issue with Monday's trade was risk management. I definitely had way too many contracts for this zone because the zone was pretty big. You can see that I was adjusting my stop loss because not only am I risking way more than I should, but my entry was also a lot further from the zone than I'd like. My entry was where that blue line is, and I try to get in as close as I can to my zone. Looking back, I should have tried to exit the trade around break even and called it a day, especially since there were moments where I actually was profitable while in this trade. I did let the trade play out and I ended up losing, and this is actually the most I've ever lost in a trade. Tuesday's trade was actually pretty long. I think I was in this trade for about 45 minutes. I did scale back a lot more when it came to the number of contracts because I only want to risk about $500 per trade. Overall, this was a great setup. It checked off all the boxes, but the problem mainly just came down to timing. I took this trade in the afternoon, and unfortunately, NQ was really just running out of gas. On Wednesday's trade, I did chase a little bit when it came to my entry. Even though there was a tap in my zone, I was a little too eager to get in. Because my entry was a little further, I actually did move my stop loss up in order to minimize my risk. I just moved it up to the lowest wick in the zone. Usually, the bottom of the zone is where I place my stop loss, but the top of the box is also where my entry should be. So this was my way of adjusting to accommodate the distance of the entry. When I was doing pre-market analysis on Thursday, my bias was buys, but that quickly changed. After doing some research, it seems that stocks fell because big tech like Microsoft ultimately disappointed investors. They made people worry that growth is slowing and costs are getting too high, and that made traders begin selling tech stocks. So this essentially pulled the whole market down. And as a result, I prepared for sells. I was very confident going into this trade because the trend was very obvious. This was also my first win of the week, so it definitely brought back some confidence. It is really hard when you lose 3 days in a row to, get yourself back out there. So this was a much needed win. For Friday, my bias continued to be sells, but I wasn't fully confident in this setup. I did really go back and forth on whether or not I wanted to enter, but the thing that kept me from entering was that it hadn't broken lower lows yet. So I didn't really know if there would be a reversal coming up. I logged off around 11, assuming that I wouldn't get a setup I felt confident in. And while I was out running errands, I logged onto TradingView and saw a setup forming. I set an alert, and when it triggered, I did actually take a trade. I waited for it to get as close to the zone as possible, and then I entered. It was a quick trade, and it was also a win. Although I am net negative this week, I really did learn a lot about risk management, so I am giving myself some grace for Monday. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more.